I have more respect for a man who lets me know where he stands, even if he's wrong.
We always say in the Black Panther Party that they can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary.
New Nubian. Legal Research 2, Using Case Law, Statutes, and Databases. Presented by Dr. Jonah Sanders. Course Objectives. To deepen learners' legal research skills by focusing on effective use of case law, statutes, and digital legal databases for comprehensive and efficient legal research. Course Outline. Module 1, Understanding Case Law. Module 2, Researching Statutes and Regulations. Module 3, Using Legal Databases. Module 4, Validating and Updating Legal Authorities. Module 5, Practical Research Exercise and Review. Module 6, Review and Quiz. Course Syllabus. Module topics cover time learning objectives. 1. Case Law, Reading, Briefing, Precedent, 25 minutes master effective case law research. 2. Statutes and Regulations, Structure, Legislative History, 25 minutes navigate statutory and regulatory research. 3. Legal Databases, Platforms, Search Strategies, 30 minutes use databases efficiently and effectively. 4. Validating Authority, Shepherdizing, Key Citing, 20 minutes ensure legal sources are current and authoritative. 5. Practical Exercise Research Application, 15 minutes apply research techniques practically. 6. Review and Quiz Summary plus Test, 5 minutes reinforce learning and assess knowledge. Module 1. Understanding Case Law. Role and importance of case law in legal research. What are legal ethics? Legal ethics refers to a set of moral principles and professional standards lawyers must follow. It governs behavior in client representation, courtroom conduct, and general legal practice, ensuring accountability, integrity, and fairness in the justice system. Part 1, Introduction to Case Law and its Role in Legal Research. Objectives. Define case law and distinguish it from statutes and regulations. Explain the origin of case law in common law systems. Understand how case law contributes to the legal research process. Activities. Lecture plus visual presentation. Explanation of stare decisis, precedent, and the doctrine of binding versus persuasive authority. Examples of case law in action, e.g., landmark rulings that changed legal interpretations. Part 2, Hierarchy of Courts and Precedential Value. Objectives. Understand how the court hierarchy affects the value of a case as precedent. Distinguish between binding and persuasive precedent. Activities. Court chart activity. Use a diagram to show the structure of courts, e.g., trial court, appellate court, Supreme Court. Mini-case comparison exercise. Review 2 decisions, one from a high court and one from a lower court. Ask, which one has more legal weight, and why? Part 3, Finding and Analyzing Case Law. Objectives. Learn how to locate relevant case law using legal databases. Understand how to interpret a case citation and digest a court opinion. Activities. Demonstration. Live or recorded demo of using platforms like Westlaw, LexisNexis, or Google Scholar. Citation breakdown. Dissect a sample citation, e.g., Roe v. Wade, 410 U.S. 113, 1973. Reading a case. Identify key components, facts, issue, rule, analysis, and conclusion, FIRAC met. How to read and brief cases effectively. Lesson focus. Building skills to read judicial opinions with clarity and create structured briefs for use in legal analysis, argument, and research. Part 1. Understanding the structure of a judicial opinion. Objectives. Identify and understand the components of a legal opinion. Recognize differences between majority, concurring, and dissenting opinions. Activities. Lecture plus guided breakdown. Components of a case. Case caption. Citation. Facts. Procedural history. Issues. Rules of law. Part 2. Techniques for active reading of cases. Objectives. Develop a step-by-step method for reading cases strategically. Learn to distinguish key facts from background information and dicta from holding. Activities. Lecture plus visual tools. Introduce the first pass, second pass, close reading technique. Teach use of marginal notes, underlining, highlighting techniques. Case markup activity. Provide a short case and ask students to highlight. Facts in yellow. Issues in blue. Part 3. How to brief a case, step by step. Objectives. Understand the standard format for a case brief. Learn how to distill complex opinions into brief, usable formats. Activities. Step-by-step instruction on the FIRAC or IRAC+ format. FIRAC equals facts, issue, rule, application, conclusion. IRAC plus equals issue, rule, application, conclusion plus procedural history and case name. Sample brief demonstration. Brief a well-known case, e.g., Marbury v. Madison, as a live example. Peer activity. Students pair up to brief a provided case, then compare and critique each other's briefs. Identifying precedent and stare decisis. Lesson focus. How to identify relevant precedent and understand the legal doctrine of stare decisis, the foundation of consistency and predictability in common law systems. Part 1. Introduction to Precedent and Stare Decisis. Objectives. Define legal precedent and the principle of stare decisis. Understand how these doctrines contribute to legal stability and predictability. Activities. Lecture plus concept illustration. Define. Precedent, a prior court decision used as a rule in subsequent cases. Stare decisis, to stand by things decided, courts follow prior decisions when applicable. Differentiate. Binding versus persuasive precedent. Horizontal versus vertical stare decisis. Part 2. Court hierarchies and binding authority. Objectives. Identify which court decisions carry binding authority. Understand how jurisdiction and hierarchy affect the applicability of precedent. Activities. Court system mapping. Use a visual chart to show the hierarchy, trial appellate supreme. Discuss differences between federal and state systems. Scenario analysis. Example, can a district court disregard a circuit court decision? Students classify examples as binding or persuasive authority. Part 3, how to identify precedent in case law research. Objectives. Learn how to search for, locate, and identify relevant precedents. Develop skills to recognize key holdings within cases. Activities. Case research demonstration. Use a legal database, Westlaw, LexisNexis, or simulated site, to show how to find cases by topic or citation. Holding versus dictum exercise. Provide a short judicial opinion. Distinguishing binding versus persuasive authority. Lesson focus. Teaching learners how to identify, analyze, and effectively use both binding and persuasive authority in legal research and argumentation. Part 1, Introduction to Legal Authority. Objectives. Understand the concept of legal authority. Distinguish between primary and secondary authority. Introduce the difference between binding and persuasive authority. Activities. Interactive lecture. Define. Primary authority, e.g., statutes, case law, constitutions. Secondary authority, e.g., treatises, law review articles. Part 2, Understanding Binding Authority. Objectives. Identify what makes an authority binding. Understand how court hierarchy and jurisdiction influence binding precedent. Activities. Visual chart review. Show court systems, state and federal, with arrows to illustrate vertical precedent. Case example discussion. Case A, decision from a higher court in the same jurisdiction. Case B, decision from another trial court in a different state. Discuss which is binding and why. Part 3, Understanding Persuasive Authority. Objectives. Identify forms of persuasive authority. Understand when and why courts might rely on persuasive sources. Activities. Examples overview. Persuasive authority includes decisions from courts in other jurisdictions, lower court decisions, obiter dicta, international or foreign case law, academic writing or law review articles. Module 2. Researching Statutes and Regulations. Structure and organization of statutes. Lesson focus. Teaching learners how statutes are organized, formatted, cited, and interpreted, crucial for accurate legal research and application. Part 1, Introduction to Statutes. Objectives. Define a statute and understand its role in the legal system. Differentiate statutes from regulations, case law, and constitutional provisions. Activities. Lecture plus real-world example. What is a statute? E.g., laws passed by legislative bodies like Congress or state legislatures. Contrast statutes versus case law versus regulations. Part 2, Anatomy of a Statute. Objectives. Identify and understand the components of a statute. Recognize how statutes are divided and categorized. Activities. Visual breakdown of a sample statute, federal and state. Title, chapter, section, subsection, clause. Heading or caption. Definition section. Enabling clause/operative language. Notes or annotations. Hands-on worksheet. Provide a statute from the U.S. Code and ask students to label each part and explain its function. Part 3, Organization of Codes and Statutory Compilations. Objectives. Learn how statutes are compiled into codes. Understand the organizational logic behind statutory groupings, subject-based, title-based. Activities. Lecture plus chart presentation. Difference between session laws and codified statutes. Federal example, U.S. Code, organized by subject into 54 titles. State codes, e.g., California Code, New York Consolidated Laws. Finding relevant statutes and codes. Lesson focus. Developing practical skills to locate, access, and verify relevant statutes and codes using a variety of legal research tools. Part 1, Understanding Statutory Sources and Legal Codes. Objectives. Define statutes and codes, and understand the difference between session laws and codified statutes. Identify where statutes are published and organized, federal and state level. Activities. Lecture plus visual aid. Definitions. Statutes equals laws passed by a legislature. Codes equals subject organized compilations of statutes. Federal, U.S. Code, USC. State, e.g., California Codes, New York Consolidated Laws. Part 2, Tools and Platforms for Locating Statutes. Objectives. Introduce legal research tools used to find statutes, official and commercial. Compare and contrast access, features, and reliability of these tools. Activities. Demonstration plus walkthrough. Free platforms. Congress.gov. govinfo.gov. Cornell Legal Information Institute, AII. Part 3, Searching for Statutes by Topic and Jurisdiction. Objectives. Learn how to find statutes based on a legal topic or keyword. Understand how to limit searches by jurisdiction, federal versus state. Activities. Keyword search exercise. Students search for statutes related to a specific topic, e.g., cyberbullying, tenant rights, using a free online platform. Jurisdiction practice drill. Given a legal issue, students must determine whether to search federal or state statutes. Example, does a state have its own version of a statute on employment discrimination? Understanding legislative history and intent. Lesson focus. Equipping learners with the skills to research, interpret, and apply legislative history and legislative intent in legal analysis and statutory interpretation. Part 1, Introduction to Legislative History and Legislative Intent. Objectives. Define legislative history and legislative intent. Understand why and when courts use them in statutory interpretation. Activities. Lecture with examples. Legislative history, the documents created during the enactment of a statute. Legislative intent, the purpose lawmakers had in mind when enacting a law. Part 2, Components of Legislative History. Objectives. Identify the key types of documents that make up legislative history. Understand how each type contributes to revealing legislative intent. Activities. Document types overview. Bill drafts and amendments. Committee reports. Floor debates. Sponsor statements. Hearing transcripts. Presidential signing statements. Part 3, Where and how to research legislative history. Objectives. Learn to locate federal and state legislative history materials using free and paid resources. Understand the structure of legislative databases. Activities. Platform demonstration. Federal resources. Congress.gov. govinfo.gov. ProQuest Congressional, for subscribed users. State resources, e.g., California Legislature Portal, New York State Assembly. Researching administrative regulations and agency rules. Lesson focus. Equipping learners with practical skills to locate, interpret, and apply administrative regulations and agency rules using authoritative legal research tools. Part 1, Introduction to Administrative Regulations. Objectives. Define administrative regulations and explain their legal authority. Understand the difference between statutes and regulations. Activities. Lecture plus concept map. Define. Statutes equals laws enacted by legislatures. Regulations equals rules issued by executive agencies to implement statutes. Role of agencies, e.g., EPA, FDA, SEC, in issuing rules under statutory authority. Example breakdown. Compare a statute, e.g., Clean Air Act, with a related EPA regulation. Part 2, Understanding Regulatory Publication Structure. Objectives. Learn how regulations are published and codified. Understand the structure of the Federal Register and Code of Federal Regulations, CFR. Activities. Presentation plus document samples. Federal Register, daily publication of proposed rules, final rules, notices. Code of Federal Regulations, CFR subject arrangement of current, permanent regulations. CFR structure, 50 titles, divided by subject. Document navigation exercise. Provide a sample citation, e.g., 21 CFR section 314.50. Ask students to dissect and identify. Title. Section. Subject matter. Issuing agency. Part 3, Research Tools for Regulations. Objectives. Learn to locate federal and state regulations using online research platforms. Distinguish between proposed and final rules. Activities. Live demonstration, or guided screenshots. Federal research tools. federalregister.gov. ecfr.gov. govinfo.gov. Commercial databases, overview only Westlaw, LexisNexis, Bloomberg Law. Research drill. Students are given a regulation topic, e.g., workplace safety, prescription drugs. Locate both the current CFR provision and a related Federal Register notice, proposed or final rule. Module 3. Using legal databases. Overview of popular legal research platforms: Westlaw, LexisNexis, Bloomberg Law, Google Scholar. Lesson focus. Introducing the features, strengths, and limitations of the most widely used legal research platforms, and providing hands-on practice to develop basic user competence across multiple systems. Part 1, Introduction to Legal Research Platforms. Objectives. Understand the role of legal databases in modern legal research. Learn the differences between free and paid platforms. Activities. Lecture with slides. Importance of digital legal research. Comparison of primary platforms. Westlaw, LexisNexis, Bloomberg Law, Google Scholar. Public versus proprietary access. Discussion prompt. Have you used any legal databases before? What did you find easy or difficult? Part 2, Westlaw, Tools and Features. Objectives. Gain familiarity with Westlaw's interface and research capabilities. Learn to use Westlaw to search for cases, statutes, and secondary sources. Activities. Live demonstration or guided screenshots. Home screen and search bar navigation. Key site for checking authority and case history. Filters for jurisdiction, document type, and date. Using the table of contents for statutes. Mini practice activity. Locate a landmark U.S. Supreme Court case. Use key site to determine if the case is still good law. Part 3, LexisNexis, Tools and Features. Objectives. Understand LexisNexis's organizational structure and smart search features. Learn to use Shepard citations to validate legal authority. Activities. Platform tour. Case law search with topic suggestions. Use of filters, court level, jurisdiction, date. Exploring the Lexis Plus, practical guidance, and treatise libraries. Shepardizing a case. Quick research task. Search for a federal statute and find at least one case interpreting it. Advanced search techniques and filters. Lesson focus. Teaching advanced search commands, Boolean logic, and filtering tools to improve precision and efficiency in legal research across various legal databases. Part 1, Importance of Advanced Search Techniques. Objectives. Understand why advanced search tools are essential for legal research. Review common challenges of broad or irrelevant search results. Activities. Instructor briefing plus discussion prompt. Have you ever received too many or irrelevant results when searching a database? What helped narrow them down? Part 2, Boolean operators and connectors. Objectives. Master use of Boolean logic for precise search results. Learn how to combine terms using and, or, not, and proximity operators. Activities. Lecture plus chart explanation. And equals narrows, e.g., employment and discrimination. Or equals broadens, e.g., teen or juvenile. Not equals excludes, e.g., tenant not eviction. Proximity connectors, e.g., /5, W/10, near. Lexis, W/5. Westlaw/S/P/N. Practice exercise. Convert natural language questions into Boolean queries. Example, find cases involving racial bias in traffic stops, racial/10 stop and traffic. Part 3, Truncation, Wildcards, and Phrase Searching. Objectives. Use symbols and quotation marks to customize search variations. Understand how to retrieve multiple word forms or spellings. Activities. Symbol explanation. Truncation, *educat* equals education, educator, educating. Wildcard, WOMN equals woman or women. Quotation marks, exact phrase, right to counsel. Group practice. Provide 5 examples with varied legal topics and ask learners to enhance the queries using these tools. Boolean search operators. Lesson focus. Training learners to construct efficient and accurate legal searches using Boolean operators such as and, or, not, and proximity connectors in legal research platforms. Part 1, Introduction to Boolean Logic in Legal Research. Objectives. Understand what Boolean search logic is. Learn why Boolean operators are essential for legal database navigation. Activities. Short lecture plus visual aid. Define Boolean logic, a form of algebra used in search engines and databases to refine search results. Importance in legal research, precision, relevance, and time saving. Discussion prompt. Have you ever typed a search and been overwhelmed with unrelated results? How might Boolean logic help? Part 2, Core Boolean operators, and, or, not. Objectives. Learn how to narrow or broaden searches using core Boolean operators. Understand how to exclude unwanted results. Activities. Interactive slide walkthrough. And returns results containing both terms. Example, discrimination and housing. Or, returns results containing either term. Part 3, Advanced Boolean, Phrase Searching, Truncation, and Wildcards. Objectives. Learn to refine searches using quotation marks, truncation, and wildcard characters. Activities. Tool demo plus practice. Quotation marks, for exact phrases. Example, search and seizure. Truncation, * for multiple word endings. Example, educat * education, educator, educating. Wildcards. Or. Example, WOMN woman, women. Saving, annotating, and organizing research results. Lesson focus. Teaching learners how to effectively save, annotate, categorize, and manage legal research materials within legal databases and offline for efficient review, collaboration, and citation. Part 1, Importance of Research Organization. Objectives. Understand the role of research organization in legal practice. Recognize the value of saving and annotating results for future use. Activities. Lecture plus scenario prompt. Imagine returning to a research problem weeks later. How will you find and understand your prior findings? Short group discussion. What's your current system for saving or organizing legal research, if any? Part 2, Saving and Exporting Research Results. Objectives. Learn how to save documents and search results in various legal platforms. Understand available formats, PDF, Word, links, folders. Activities. Live platform demonstration, or screenshots. Westlaw, save to folders, export to PDF/Word, email links. Lexis Plus, save to folders, cloud-based client folders. Bloomberg Law, workspace and alert saving. Google Scholar, save function to library. Mini practice task. Find a case and save it to a folder. Export a statute to PDF and email it to yourself. Part 3, Annotating and Highlighting Legal Documents. Objectives. Learn to use in-platform annotation tools to add notes and highlights. Practice creating effective, searchable annotations. Activities. Annotation demo, platform-specific. Highlight case text and insert margin notes in Westlaw/Lexis. Save annotations within research folders. Guided activity. Students locate a case and highlight. The holding. A key fact. A rule of law. Add short annotations for each section. Module 4. Validating and updating legal authorities. Shepardizing and key citing, purpose and process. Lesson focus. Teaching students how to use legal citators, Shepards, Lexis, and key cite, Westlaw, to ensure legal authorities are still valid, and to identify how they have been treated by other courts. Part 1, Introduction to Citators and Legal Authority Validation. Objectives. Understand why legal authority validation is crucial. Learn what citators are and how they function. Activities. Short lecture. Definition. A citator is a research tool used to track the history and treatment of legal authorities. Importance. Prevent citation of overturned or negatively treated precedent. Illustrative example. Cite a real-world case that was overturned but still frequently cited without validation. Class prompt. Have you ever assumed a case was still valid without checking? What could go wrong? Part 2, Overview of Shepards and key cite. Objectives. Introduce both tools, explain their color codes, symbols, and functions. Compare features and outputs between the two systems. Part 3, How to Shepardize on Lexis. Objectives. Learn how to use Shepard citations to evaluate authority. Understand different treatment types and case history. Activities. Step-by-step demo. Enter a case citation. View. Case history, direct appeal chain. Citing references, other cases, law reviews, etc. Treatment signals, e.g., overruled by, followed by, criticized by. Filter citing sources by jurisdiction, date, or treatment type. Practice activity. Assign a known case, e.g., Terry vs. Ohio. Identifying overruled, questioned, or followed cases. Lesson focus. Teaching students how to identify and interpret how courts treat prior decisions, whether they overrule, question, follow, or distinguish them, using citator tools and legal reasoning. Part 1. Why treatment of precedent matters. Objectives. Understand the legal impact of a case being overruled, questioned, or followed. Learn how court treatment influences the strength of an argument. Activities. Mini lecture with real-world examples. A case that was overruled, Plessy vs. Ferguson. A case that was questioned in later decisions, Katz vs. United States. A case that was consistently followed, Miranda vs. Arizona. Part 2. Understanding types of treatment. Objectives. Learn the legal meaning of treatment terms like overruled, questioned, criticized, followed, and distinguished. Understand how to apply those terms in research and writing. Part 3. Finding treatment using Shepard's, Lexis+. Objectives. Learn how to identify how a case has been treated using Shepard's. Navigate filters to isolate negative or positive treatments. Activities. Platform demo, or slides. How to read Shepard's signal indicators. Red circle red equals overruled and whole/part. Yellow circle yellow equals questioned/criticized/limited. Green circle green equals followed. Filter by jurisdiction, date, or type of treatment. Hands-on practice. Shepardized Terry vs. Ohio. Tracking changes in statutes and regulations. Lesson focus. Teaching learners how to identify, monitor, and interpret changes to statutes and administrative regulations over time using legal research tools, legislative history, and regulatory tracking services. Part 1. Introduction to Statutory and Regulatory Change. Objectives. Understand why tracking changes in statutes and regulations is critical for accurate legal analysis. Recognize that both statutory law and administrative regulations are dynamic and subject to revision. Activities. Mini lecture. Examples of major statutory or regulatory changes, e.g., changes to the Affordable Care Act or immigration rules. The impact of outdated law in litigation or compliance. Discussion prompt. Can you think of a case where a regulation or statute was amended and changed the outcome? Part 2. Understanding how statutes and regulations are updated. Objectives. Learn how statutes move through the legislative process. Learn how agency rules are issued and amended. Activities. Process overview chart. Statutes. Bill introduction. Passage through committees. Enactment and codification. Amendments or repeal. Regulations. Notice of proposed rulemaking, NPRM. Comment period. Final rule. Codification in CFR, US, or Gazette, International. Part 3, Tools for tracking statutory changes. Objectives. Use legal databases to monitor and research changes in statutes. Understand version comparisons and historical tracking features. Activities. Platform demonstration, choose Westlaw or Lexis+. Westlaw. History and Versions tabs. Compare statutory text by date. Check for notes of decision. Lexis. History, link in code sections. Shepherdizing statutes to find interpreting cases and amendments. Ensuring the authority is current and reliable. Lesson focus. Teaching learners how to confirm that any legal authority, case law, statutes, or regulations, is up to date, still good law, and appropriate to cite in legal writing or court practice. Part 1, Understanding why currency and reliability matter. Objectives. Grasp the risks of relying on outdated or overturned legal authorities. Learn the difference between cited often and still good law. Activities. Short lecture. Outdated cases equals legal malpractice risk. Old statutes equals non-compliance or failed motions. Real case example. A famous Supreme Court precedent that was later overruled, Roe v. Wade replaced by Dobbs. Part 2, What makes a legal authority current and reliable? Objectives. Define criteria for currency and reliability. Differentiate between valid and questionable legal sources. Activities. Class discussion with whiteboard. Current equals recently reviewed, still enforced. Reliable equals from legitimate sources, e.g., court decisions, statutes, certified administrative rules. Do/don't sorting game. Students evaluate examples and decide if they are current/reliable. A case from 1980 that was overruled. Crossmark. A regulation published yesterday on the EPA's official site. White heavy check mark. A blog post summarizing a law but without citation. Crossmark. Part 3, Using citators to verify case law status. Objectives. Use Shepard's, Lexis, and KeyCite, Westlaw, to check whether case law is still good. Activities. Live demo or screenshots. Shepard's, red/yellow/green symbols, citing decisions, treatment filters. KeyCite, red/yellow flags, direct history, citing references by headnote. Hands-on activity. Students choose one Supreme Court case in. Shepardize or KeyCite it. Identify any negative treatments. Decide, is it still good law? Under what conditions? Module 5. Practical research exercise and review. Hands-on research task using a sample legal question. Lesson focus. Guiding learners through a real-time legal research exercise to apply skills in identifying legal issues, locating relevant authorities, using legal databases, and documenting research outcomes effectively. Part 1, Introduction and Research Scenario Overview. Objectives. Set expectations for a full-length, applied legal research exercise. Present the legal problem that will be used for the research task. Activities. Scenario presentation. You are a law clerk in a legal aid office. A client was evicted from their apartment after complaining about unsafe conditions. The client wants to know if the eviction was lawful under state tenant protection laws. Issue framing discussion. What are the legal issues? Retaliatory eviction, tenant rights, housing code violations. What laws or types of authority might apply? Part 2, Developing a Research Strategy. Objectives. Teach how to structure a research plan. Identify keywords, jurisdiction, and type of sources. Activities. Worksheet exercise. Define key legal issues. List relevant search terms and synonyms, e.g., retaliatory eviction, tenant complaints, habitability, landlord retaliation. Identify jurisdiction, e.g., state housing law, local ordinances. Strategy chart. Primary sources to consult statutes, case law. Secondary sources practice guides, legal encyclopedias. Legal databases Westlaw, Lexis Plus, Google Scholar. Part 3, Conducting the Research V. Objectives. Apply research strategy to locate relevant laws and precedents. Navigate legal research platforms confidently. Activities. Live research time. Students use selected platforms to search. State landlord-tenant statutes, e.g., state housing codes. Local housing regulations or city ordinances. Case law referencing retaliatory eviction or tenant retaliation. Secondary sources, law review, housing guides. Guided instructor support. Circulate to assist with search syntax, filtering, and citation verification. Reviewing findings and strategies. Lesson focus. Guide learners through structured review of their legal research findings and strategies to assess completeness, relevance, and accuracy while refining their research process for future tasks. Part 1, Introduction to Legal Research Review. Objectives. Understand why reviewing research is essential before writing or advising. Frame review as a step for quality control and strategy refinement. Activities. Brief lecture. Even well-conducted research can miss key authorities. Reviewing findings ensures you're citing current, controlling, and complete law. Prompt discussion. Have you ever gone back to check your research and found something you missed? What was the impact? Part 2, Legal Research Review Framework. Objectives. Introduce a systematic framework for reviewing findings and research strategy. Part 3, Peer Review of Research Tables and Memos. Objectives. Practice applying the framework to real student work. Give and receive constructive feedback. Activities. Partner exchange. Swap legal authority tables or short memos from the prior research lesson. Use the checklist to review each other's. Use of primary and secondary sources. Citation quality. Source validity, via Shepard's or KeyCite. Feedback form use. What worked well? What should be added or removed? Are all authorities current and applicable? Tips for efficient and ethical legal research. Lesson focus. Equipping learners with strategies to conduct legal research that is both efficient, time and resource conscious, and ethical, accurate, honest, and responsible, reinforcing habits expected in legal practice. Part 1, Introduction, Why Efficiency and Ethics Matter in Research. Objectives. Define efficient and ethical in the context of legal research. Highlight risks of poor research practices, both practical and professional. Activities. Mini lecture. Efficiency equals achieving results quickly without sacrificing accuracy. Ethics equals being truthful, diligent, and respectful of law and process. Scenario prompt. A junior associate copies old case citations from a memo without verifying them. The judge finds one was overruled. What happens next? Part 2, Time-saving research strategies. Objectives. Learn practical techniques to find information faster and smarter. Reduce unnecessary duplication or misdirection in searches. Part 3, Ethical Obligations in Legal Research. Objectives. Learn what professional responsibility rules require in legal research. Understand the consequences of careless or dishonest research. Activities. Brief lecture. Rules from ABA Model Rules of Professional Conduct. Rule 1.1, Competence, includes thorough legal research. Rule 3.3, Candor to the tribunal, prohibits citing bad law knowingly. Rule 8.4, Misconduct, dishonesty, deceit, or misrepresentation. Case study discussion. A lawyer cited a case that had been overruled 2 years earlier. They never used KeyCite. The court sanctioned them. Module 6. Review and Quiz. Recap of key techniques. Lesson focus. To reinforce all essential legal research techniques covered throughout the course, offering a comprehensive and structured review to consolidate learning before assessment or practical application. Part 1, Welcome and Purpose of the Recap. Objectives. Set the tone for reflection and integration. Clarify what students are expected to know and apply by the end of the review. Activities. Instructor briefing. Today we're going to review the core research skills you've built, from case law and statutory research to citation validation, database use, and ethical practices. This session will reinforce confidence and prepare you for real-world use. Visual overview slide. Case law research. Statute and regulation research. Part 2, Review of case law techniques. Objectives. Revisit how to locate, analyze, and validate case law. Activities. Interactive review. Where do we find binding precedent? What's the role of stare decisis? How do we distinguish between binding versus persuasive authority? Part 3, Statutory and Regulatory Research Review. Objectives. Reinforce the structure and research process of statutes and administrative regulations. Activities. Recap topics. Finding statutes in Lexis/Westlaw. Understanding annotations and historical versions. Using CFR, ECFR, and Federal Register for regulations. Tracking amendments and pending changes. Question quiz to test understanding. Lesson focus. To evaluate learners' mastery of essential legal research concepts and techniques through a structured, timed quiz and comprehensive debrief session. Part 1, Quiz Overview and Instructions, 10 minutes. Objectives. Set expectations for the quiz. Ensure students understand the format, topics covered, and time limits. Activities. Instructor briefing. This quiz will assess your knowledge and skills in legal research, including case law, statutes, regulations, authority validation, and ethical research practices. Each question is worth 10 points. Some are multiple choice, others short answer. Topics covered. Identifying legal issues. Using legal databases, Westlaw, Lexis, etc. Validating with Shepard/Keysight. Statutory structure and research. Boolean search operators. Part 2, Quiz Completion. Objectives. Allow students to complete the 10-question quiz in a quiet, focused environment. Activities. Administer quiz, written or digital. Sample 10-question quiz. Multiple choice. What does a red flag in Keysight indicate? A. Cited favorably. B. Overruled or reversed in whole or part. C. Cited by a persuasive authority. D. Pending appeal. True/false. You should always Shepardize or Keysight a case before citing it in a brief. White heavy checkmark true. Crossmark false. Part 3, Self-grading or instructor-led review. Objectives. Review answers together to reinforce learning. Offer detailed explanations for each question. Activities. Answer key walkthrough. Instructor displays correct answers with rationale. Students self-mark or participate in group grading. Explanations provided. Why a California Court of Appeal ruling is binding in California. Y/S is used for Boolean proximity.
Thank you.